Hey guys, in this video I'm gonna show you how to make this kind of car edit. Alright, so first up, you're gonna go into your browser and search up Sketchfab. And here, you're gonna find all the assets you can use for Blender, which is our 3D software that we're gonna use later on. And here I chose the Nissan Silvia S15, which I mistakenly thought that it's the R34 Skyline. Here when you scroll down you can see the download 3D model, and once you click it, you might have to sign up or log in. It should take for like only a minute or so, and once logged in, you can click on download 3D model again, and then here you can choose any file that you want. I prefer picking the top one and just click download. And here, after you finish downloading, you're gonna want to extract the file. Once extracted, open the folder and go into source folder. Inside source folder, there may or may not be a zip file, and you can extract that as well. But if you don't have one, then just ignore it. Alright, so open up Blender and click General. So here, we're gonna select the cube. Once selected, press X to delete and press Shift A to add a new object and S to scale it up. So as you can see, on the bottom left side, I added screencast keys to show which button I'm pressing. Now here, you can see the dimension on the top right. I want you to go to the side view and enable X-ray. Now, once you enable it, press G to move the object and Z to move it toward the Z axis. Now here, I want you to move the object until the bottom of the object hit the red axis or the X axis. And from here, I want you to follow the keys on the bottom left side. They are pretty straightforward, and hopefully you understand them and follow them. Now here, you can use the scroll wheel to make the bevel smoother. And here, you can choose between AV or cycles for your render engine. Now here, we're gonna go into render view, which is dark at the moment because we don't have any light source. And to do that, let's add a light source. You can choose any light source you want. Now if you go into render view, you should see a little light or a brighter one. And to change the properties, go into light properties and change the power into anything you like. Now once you find the perfect spot, I want you to go back into solid mode. And we want to bevel the sharp edges of the cube. Now that everything is smoothed out, I want you to create a new material for the cube. You can create your own material, but if you want to, you can copy mine. Now here, we're gonna import the model that we downloaded from Sketchfab. Once imported, your model might be in pieces and it's going to be a pain trying to move them. So I'm going to show you how to parent them into an empty. So if you add an empty but you can't see it, you can select the object that is blocking you from seeing the empty and press H to hide it. Now that you hid the objects, you're gonna want to align the empty to the car's bottom center. To parent it, select all the model's pieces and shift select the empty, and then right click and select parent object. Once you parent it, you can freely move the car by selecting the empty. You can either move them using G and R to rotate. Now, to unhide an object, we're gonna want to press Alt and H, and all the objects that you hid are now back. To change the camera's resolution, we want to go to Output Properties and change the resolution to whatever you want. Once in camera view, you can go into fly mode by pressing this keys. And you can use WASD to move around and your mouse cursor to look around. You can use left mouse button to confirm it. Once you find the perfect angle, we're gonna go and change our background color to suit our object's color. And to do that, select the background and go to Material Output, then change it to your liking. In my case, I'm changing the color to a more dark-ish color. Now, the fun part, keyframes. You can either animate in 24 FPS or 30 FPS or even 60 FPS. It's up to you. You can follow what I'm going to do or make your own keyframes. To animate the keyframes, make sure to add an in and out keyframes. Once you finish making the first clip, you can either add more in between the keyframes to make it smoother or align properly. Now, to make the second clip, duplicate the camera that we have and delete the left side of the keyframes, making the last frame the first keyframe on the second camera. To switch between the camera, move the blue line to where you want to switch the camera and press Ctrl B. Now you can start animating the second clip. You can do this over and over as many times as you want. But for me, I'm only gonna stick to 3 clips. Once you finish your animation, we're gonna have to render the very first frame, but only the background. To do that, I want you to shift click the eyes icon and the camera icon on the top left. Now here, if you have a decent PC, you can follow my render properties. But if you don't, you can copy the one on the screen right now. Here, by clicking the folder icon, you can choose the location for your render output. Now we're going to render only the first frame of the clip. So start by clicking on render and then render image. Once rendered, you can press Alt S to save it. Once finished, you can now unhide the model by shift clicking it again. If everything's finished, like the animations, the keyframes, and the directory, and the render samples, if those are set, you can now render the animation. Once finished rendering, you can go ahead and open After Effects and create a new vertical project. Now, locate the folder containing all your rendered images and drag the background image into After Effects. Double-click the panel on the left side where all your project files are located. Find your rendered images, then either select all of them or just the first clip, which contains only 60 frames. Once your files are selected, take the PNG sequence checkbox so they load as a PNG sequence. Drag the background image into the timeline, then place the PNG sequence above it. You can scale the clip so it fits your screen. Since I rendered mine in 1440p, I have to scale it down to this number. Also, import the first frame of the car animation as it will be used for masking. Once you finish masking the car, you can now add the song you want. Here, you can use the asterisk key to add markers to the beat. Also, OBS did not record the display for some reason, but you can still copy my frame settings, or what I'll do. To keyframe, click the clock icon right beside the position and make sure the blue line is on the marker that we put in earlier. Now, while the mask car is selected, press I to move the blue line on the first frame of the clip, and drag the X position to right until the mask car is not in the frame. Now go into graph editor while the keyframes are selected. Before we edit the positions graph, we need to separate the dimensions. To do so, go into position and right click it and select separate dimensions. Now here, we're gonna add the brand name on the background. To do that, select the background and add a new text and type Nissan. While the text is selected, press S to bring up scale. And press the unlink button. Now you can play around with it and customize it to your liking. Once you're satisfied with your result, you can go ahead and make an animation for it. Start off by selecting the text and press T for opacity, and move the blue line on the center of the mask car and keyframe it. Now we go to the first frame and turn the opacity down to 0. It should automatically keyframe itself. And of course, don't forget to easy ease it. Here we're gonna add this line. So select the rectangle tool and make sure the fill and stroke are black. Now just drag it until you make a nice looking line. Now we can add an animation to it. Select the shape layer and add keyframe to the scale. Here you can copy what I did. we can add the logo. You can download the logo online, and it's better if you download an image without the background, or just a plain background. Now, we're gonna use AI to generate a description for us, including the horsepower, top speed, and 0 to 60. After adding drop shadow to the text, add the fade up characters text preset. Now, just add the remaining text we need to add. And that's it. You've completed the intro. Nice. I only covered the introduction since the full video would be too long. You can leave now or stay if you'd like to continue, as the rest will be completely optional and focus on improving the final look.